kind of, our guys will be there as a tool and a instructor for you, but you may have to actually step in and help your scout accomplish the task within the hour. Because this is a weird model and we can't staff it the way that, we'd love to, but they will. So at each program area, there will be multiple activities for them to choose from. So there should be something for everyone. And there will be some, if we're talking little guys, there'll be some of those like foam crafts at craft in case they're not ready for a paracord bracelet or not ready for wood burning. That can sound a little intimidating to new families.
Okay.
But we can have little kids, Stacy, right off the bat, burning them. I mean, wood burning.
Let me look into the guide to safe scouting, but I'm almost positive that they can use the tool with parental guidance.
I'm kidding.
But they can't start fires, so I'm not sure. I have to look into the specifics of that.
I want to use wood burning tools. Come on.
There you go.
They are super fun. I love it.
So as Stacy said, right now we're probably gonna be moving through the camp as a cohort as opposed to how we did it in the past, where you kind of moved about and did what you wanted to do. But I mean, all in all, I think the kids are still gonna have a lot of fun. They're gonna be with their friends, and I don't even think they're gonna notice the difference, to be honest with you. So,
So if anyone doesn't, this is John. If anyone doesn't understand what this model looks like we just briefed over it because Brian's familiar with the concept. Stacy obviously wrote the book on the concept. The cohort model for anybody that's on this call, whether you're new or old, is set up such that our group, Pack 554, will only move with each other. So if we're going to aquatics, we're going to aquatics with us, and we'll have a designated time that we leave our camp to go to the aquatics area, participate in whatever events they have, be it drowning your kids, fishing for kids, swimming off the dock with kids, throwing kids in the water. All of those things will happen in our designated hour and a half time frame. Then we'll turn around and we'll move from that area to another area as our pack. Because of the size of what we have, it's almost guaranteed that we'll be alone all of the time. If it's a larger area, they said they may, try and sneak a smaller group in to share the space, but it's only on super, super big occasions. So like if they were using the center field, it would be our pack and be one other smaller group to do that. We did have some questions from our parents as to, how everybody would be kept safe. We're going to be kept amongst our own pack. That's the best way to describe this. When it comes to eating, that was another question that was brought up to me. The cohort model is very simple. We will eat only as our own group. Now, the worst case scenario, the absolute worst case, if New York State does not open up, if this does not become a wider spread where they can go through and safely distribute food in groups, our food will be brought to our camp, in which we will not eat at the mess hall. We'll eat at camp, and it'll be brought to us via golf cart or cart. It'll be served. It'll be finished. It'll be cleaned up. It'll be sent back on the cart. So there's only one touch point from them to us. And there obviously won't be anyone joining in our camps. The way that we are set up right now is we're set up between two campsites. We have the largest campsite, and it's broken into two spaces. So by design, we're going to have the most spread out area to begin with as well. And again, moving on our own.
Now,
that's all I got about that. Thanks.
Stacy, do we get to pick where we want to go, or do we just kind of get assigned to where we want to go, or how does that work?
As far as program areas?
Yeah.
You guys will be given a schedule, so you'll know day one exactly where you're going to be. Okay. Just to touch on, what did you say your youth numbers were?
I think we got 16 scouts that were interested in coming this year.
So the current day camp guidance, and this is what came out last summer, was cohorts of 15 youth or less. Now, we don't anticipate that it's going to stay at that number, but right now that's where we're planning. That does not mean that one scout's going to be off on their own or with another group. That's not what that means, but the target should be 15 youth. For some reason, they don't count the adults within that number. They're really just focused in on the youth and everything we've seen. And yes, dining, we're pretty set that the dining hall will most likely not get used. And you're going to see that
Okay.
distribution through the campsites of hot food delivered to your campsite, served by a staff member too, depending what we're looking at. So you guys, there are still no shared utensils, and we're going to say that that's probably going to continue. So
Okay.
our staff will have to serve you the food. And then again, just like John said, clean it up and it goes right back to the kitchen in the cart or whatever, however it's delivered. I mean, and the biggest thing is just going to be finding out what New York State finally comes out with, because I'll tell you that this has been a tough fall and winter not having
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So due to COVID restrictions, they're anticipating that we're going to be spending more time in individual campsites this year, and they're going to have a crate of activities like soccer balls, frisbees, card games, etc., to keep the scouts busy, because as we all know, they will find a way to keep busy if we don't keep them busy. So that's a little different from last year. So now our theme is a new frontier, and we've always come up with ideas and decorations, and me and John got to get together and kind of figure out what we're going to do for that this year. But we decorate our campsite up, and it looks pretty cool, and the kids have a good time, and it's a lot of fun.
Now, John, I've seen what you can do.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw this out there.
Go ahead.
There's like a dream that I have of being able to yell "circle the wagons," and every unit has a covered wagon that they drag onto the parade field. And this is kind of a pipe dream.
We already did our wagon.
Show it up.
We did our wagon. Last time we did the Frontier, 554 ran a wagon.
I was going to say, we did, what was that, like 5 years ago? I want to say my son was
I think it was
wolf or tiger.
maybe it was probably 3 years ago. I think we did it.
I thought it was
given
a
the time
bet.
that we had, we might be able to go through and figure that out, Stace.
All right. So what kind of activities?
The good news is we won't be leaving with it.
Well, it'll end up as firewood, but
that's usually what happens. So what kind of activities do we do out at camp? They got a pretty cool fishing dock. Everything's supplied. They have poles, they have sinkers, they have bobbers. You can purchase bait. I don't know this year. Last time I was out there, you were allowed to go out on the boat fishing. I don't know how that's going to look this year. But
I think we're going to have the boat available.
Okay.
We haven't figured out the logistics of how that'll work with cohorts and all of that yet.
You know, it seems to be pretty big with the kids, and they pull you right up to the weeds, and you don't even have to get your bait in the water, and the fish are jumping on the hook, and it's awesome. So, swimming, and I understand you have a new splash pad there this year.
Yeah.
So basically with the swimming, what happens is, and I'll go over it later, is you get a swim test when you get there, and they're divided into 3 groups: the white, the red, and the blue group. White's basically beginners, red's kind of iffy swimmers, and blue, I'm going to tell you, is a tough test. But the higher level you are, the more stuff you can do with the boats and swimming and stuff. So, but the new splash pad's in the white area, so all the scouts will be able to use that, and I think they're going to love that this year, hopefully, if the weather is like it was last year. They have archery and rifle ranges, which full instructions. Everybody out there really knows what they're doing, and safety is the #1 thing, and that's pretty much what they drive into the kids is safety, 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 and then you can shoot a few targets and then be safe and safe and safe. So I know every scout that went out there pretty much loved the archery and the BB gun ranges, and had a good time with that. Boatings, they got a whole bunch of boats, and I understand you got a lot more this year.
So a lot of, and I know there was some confusion. So they listed all these boats off, but never clarified, like the stand-up paddle boards are not Cub Scout boats.
Right.
Sailboats are not Cub Scout boats.
Okay.
So really, you're going to be looking at we'll have more of them, but we'll have kind of the same boats that have been available.
That's a good way to social distance is be out on the lake on a rowboat.
I'm sorry. My connection was a little slow and we were like talking at the same time. I apologize.
Oh, and I said that's a good way to keep them socially distanced and send them all out in a rowboat by themselves, and
there we go.
Row around the lake. A new STEM center, and there wasn't too much on it, but there's engineering challenges, and I'm sure there's more stuff in there for them. And
just put in a bid to get some snap circuits so they can work on some coding and circuit snapping together. You guys will be familiar with Kylie Simpkins. She was in charge of like the obstacle course, Gaga Pit.
Yep.
She is the STEM Center director this year. She's going to school for engineering. So she jumped right on that, requested that new position, and I was happy to put her in that spot. I think her energy will be fantastic to get the kids going and do these challenges. Awesome. And we're still kind of designing what we can do. We came up with all these ideas and then started crossing them off because it was like, that's a den meeting. That's not camp. That's not camp. So we've got tons of ideas and we're going to get it nailed down soon. But obviously we don't want to give you all our secrets before camp anything.
And the BMX basketball field games, obstacle course. My kids loved them. That's where they spent most of their camp. And I'm glad to see that they're going to be there in some form or another this year, because I know my kid looks forward to riding the bikes around and stuff. So that's going to be cool. The parade field now has an inflatable movie screen for movie nights, which sounds awesome. Hello. If anyone has some suggestions for movies, send them to Stacy and we'll see if we can get the movie up.
Goonies.
I don't know if it falls within like the Cub Scout parameter.
So perfect for their group.
But I don't disagree.
Friday the 13th, we got Camp Crystal Lake, but
you know, I did play with the idea of doing like a late movie for parents.
Yeah.
They told me I couldn't do it.
No? Oh, well.
What about The Great Outdoors?
Great movie.
It is a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like content though.
It's perfect.
Everything works
it's
for me, but then I've got some mom that's like, no, oh my God.
That's when PG was a little raunchy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, what else? Oh, so anyways, I think, and John can back me up, and Tom's been there, and your kids are not going to be bored at camp. There's so much to do that you run out of time before you run out of things to do. And I think no matter what the situation, it's going to be like this year, the same thing. So here's what their schedule looks like. So you see day one, we're going to check in, do some lunch, take a little break. Day one's kind of like to just get there and get comfortable day. And then starting day 2 and 3, breakfast, flag formations, 3 periods in the morning, 3 periods in the afternoon. So they're going to have ample opportunities to go out and do the things they want to do, and also spend time in the campsite. Like we said, there's going to be more campsite time this year. I think that's just not avoidable given the circumstances, but they're kids. They'll be okay, I think. So that's kind of what our day looks like. It goes by quick. The training
It does go by really quick.
it goes by too quick. And you know, the first year I was in, John told me you're going to be at the campfire and you're going to be crying and your kid's going to be crying. And I'm like, no, I'm just
it's a camp.
And sure enough, at the campfire, tears were coming out of our eyes. And on the way out,
my son lost his mind leaving Scout Haven in 2019. Yep. I was like, oh, he's not going to cry. Complete disaster.
Yep.
And that was when, obviously, we didn't know we were going back to Scout Haven. I was not seeing me spending summers out at Scout Haven.
So, the trading post. I didn't see much on the trading post. I don't know. Are you planning on operating it? How? I'd imagine the snacks
trading
are going
post
to be... is
definitely happening.
Okay.
We're kind of awaiting guidance just to see exactly what we have to do, and then designing around that. We've thrown around a few ideas, having the, trading post area kind of like a schedule or an order form of some sort that you say, hey, I need these items and they're delivered to you.
Okay.
And then the food section, the snack bar is open, socially distant, all of that stuff.
Cool.
So there will be details coming, I'm sure.
Okay. So the trading post, if you forget something, they do have most of your basic camping needs there, so no need to panic. snacks and goodies are available. That's good because, you know, the kids seem to enjoy them. And I just put dependent on the current guidelines because we really don't know exactly what it's going to look like. So meals, that's what the mess hall looks like. And that's what the food looks like. And they actually do a great job on food. I can't say anything bad about the food. It was awesome. Like Stacy said, they're still waiting for some further guidance. Hoping to use a mess hall, but as she said, it doesn't look that way right now. So it'll be interesting. The one thing I know I'm gonna miss is the kids being the waiters. That was really, really cool to see 7 and 8 year olds stepping up and setting tables and cleaning tables, because I don't see that at my house for sure. So
Honestly, I think the thing I'm gonna miss most is the songs.
the
All of those
songs
things
and
won't
going back
happen.
and forth, yeah. But it is, you know.
It is what it is. I just want the kids out at camp, but
Yeah,
that is a
exactly.
big piece of that for me.
And John's gonna miss yelling at everybody, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And like she said, the deliveries to the individual campsites if mess hall's not available. So I don't think we have any. Oh, Tom's on, but I had talked to Pete about this. The hill, they don't see it, and this is just for the Weeblo families. What we do is a special event up on the hill where they camp out under the stars. They don't see it held traditionally this year. Is that still the case, or?
Well, the thing I will say, they will sleep on the hill on night 3.
They will sleep on the hill.
They will sleep up there.
Okay.
What we're seeing, what we're thinking is that those families, you'll be in a roped off, let's just throw it out there because it's my favorite site, your site 11. So you will go to site 11 up on the hill and you guys will stay within your cohort. Even unfortunately, if that means it's one arrow of light that's with his dad or his mom or her, excuse me. I have a daughter in the program and I still say he all the time.
So that's good news. You know, at least they get to go up there, and I'll let our den leader know so that they can start preparing our families for that.
And the other pieces of the program will just kind of be spread throughout there might be evening action archery or something like that. So they still get the action archery. They still get all the little pieces of the program, but most likely that'll happen throughout the regular day program.
That was my biggest disappointment last year about not going to camp, is just the Weeblos didn't get to experience going up on the hill, and it was not good. And they're waiting for further guidance, as everything right now. So additional COVID precautions that they do have in place there. They're going to have 2 health officers as opposed to 1. And that's just, I'm assuming, an extra set of eyes and ears on what's going on around there. We're going to follow all mask and social distance requirements that's given. I think we're all pretty used to that by now, so nothing out of the ordinary. They have dedicated cleaners that they're going to frequently disinfect the high touch areas, and some additional hand sanitizer stations throughout the property. I mean, none of this is anything shocking to anybody, I'm sure, by now. Parade field is set up to allow physical distancing, to allow for larger gatherings, and that's where we meet in the morning and do the pledge and the oath and the law and get any announcements and what's going on. So it's kind of important to try to get everybody there, I think, and I think it's big enough. It's a long
Chris
walk.
and I were definitely not letting any kind of flags, retreats. We weren't letting that go. So
no,
we had to find a way.
No, it's important. And the PA system is now in place so that we can hear everybody. Good.
Almost in place. They have the trenches for electricity dug. It will be in place.
Okay, cool. So that seems to be all pretty good. And now on to the fun stuff. What do we need to go to camp? The forms that we need. They have a medical or religious food restriction form. So if you have any allergies or religious restrictions, you want to get this form filled out. Also use this form if you're using a CPAP machine or an O2 generator. I don't think anybody uses one, but they need this form filled out so that they can get your power supplies, and they want it 2 weeks in advance, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. OTC medication form. This is a pretty important form also. It's got to be signed by your doctor. And one of the things with this form is they need this to use bug spray or insect repellent. And I'm assuming sunscreen too, right?
Yeah, so that part's really more important for kids that are unaccompanied. So like Scouts BSA age.
Oh, okay.
It's included on the form. I mean, mom and dad are going to be there.
Right. Okay.
I'm a mom. If you tell me I can't put sunscreen on my kid without a form, I'm going to still put sunscreen on him.
I agree, but
yes, I mean, we do ask that it get filled out. Just cover
and
rear ends.
As we're talking about medications, any prescription medications need to be turned in at check-in.
Prescriptions or over the counter. That is a health department. That's not like camp just wanting to be a pain. That is a health department guideline that Steve has to follow.
And then it gets locked up in the.
And you just go and say, "Hey, I've got a headache. I need to take Tylenol." He's gonna hand you your bag, and you'll.
What about EpiPens?
I think.
Because
I will talk to Steve one more time, but I'm almost positive that you just have to say that you have an EpiPen.
Okay.
I mean, that's a
because I can't see you getting stung by a bee and running halfway across.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. The physical form. That's what it looks like. Everybody needs one, adults and children. So we need to schedule physicals with our doctors, or if you had a physical and they want to fill it out and sign it, but you need this completed or you don't go to camp. It's that simple. Needs to be completed by a doctor.
Around at the parking lot.
Yep. Both the scout and adult need one. I was thrown off by the first year. I'm like, I'm healthy, I can go to camp, but nope, you need a physical form. So now is probably a good time to start making the appointment and just getting that taken care of. A BSA COVID form, a new one. You're going to need to complete this on arrival at camp and every morning. And that's just to make sure nobody's sick. Got that. And always a possibility of more requirements as based on guidance from the state.
I got a quick question on that YPT training. Doesn't that last 2 years? Because I think I did it last year. I think I'm covered.
Yes, it's 2 years. So as long as it's valid, you're good to go.
Yeah, I can check for you, Tom.
Yeah, I think I checked it out already. I think I'm good.
Okay. All these forms I have, or you can find them at wnyscouting.org/scouthaven, and they're just download them and print them out and get them taken care of. And trust me, do it as soon as you can, because it tends to slip people's minds and then you're scrambling.
So should we have all the forms filled out ahead of time, or should we wait till we get there and do it all?
Have everything filled out ahead of time. Arrive when it's done.
They have to be filled out by a doctor. So arrival, what's going to happen when we get to scout camp? Like I said, we usually meet at the church and drive out together. That seems to work pretty good. This year, they're going to give us a scheduled arrival time. Usually we just showed up, and it's kind of like you see in all the movies where hundreds of cars are pulling in and trying to get into parking spaces, but not this year. They want us to be there at a certain time, so we're going to be there then. There's going to be a checkpoint in the driveway this year, and they're going to check each vehicle to make sure you have all your forms done and to check you for COVID symptoms. And obviously, any symptoms or missing forms will result in your refusal. I had to put my son wanted him in there. They're going to turn you around and say, you go home. And I don't blame them. So
now I need to get Steve a uniform that looks like that, though.
Yeah, there you go. So check-in. That's usually what check-in kind of looks like. But not this year because we're going individually. So I don't think the line's going to be as long. But they're going to proceed to the parking lot, and then we go down to the lodge. Same as last couple of years, we're 4 at a time or 6 at a time in the lodge at the desk.
It'll still, that part of it will probably still remain the same.
Okay.
So you'll be outside Lakeside. He'll call in, if you need to talk to the health officer or not talk to the health officer.
Right.
So there'll be people designated to check in those that don't have medications and don't need to talk to the health officer for anything. Luckily, it'll speed up a little bit because we have Nurse Sue and Health Officer Steve. So it should speed up quite a bit.
So they just go over your physical forms. That's where you would turn in your medications, and usually it goes pretty smooth. And
at this point is when you would notify them that you would be carrying an EpiPen for your scout or yourself.
Right.
And obviously nobody's going to be like, nope, turn it over and die in the parade field. It's fine with us.
And myself as a scoutmaster, I know it's your own personal thing, but if you want to let me know, that's fine. I'm an EMT. I'm certified in EpiPens and stuff like that. So some parents do, some parents don't. That's your own personal thing. But, at least I know if somebody gets stung, he needs his EpiPen right away. So that's up to the parent. Then we're going to proceed to the lake for everybody's favorite part of check-in, the swim test. Now, normally you can get pre-certified, but we don't see that happening this year because the pools aren't open. So we go down to the lake and we jump in, and like I said, the blue test is kind of tough, but it depends on whatever. Now, do they have to take a swim test, or can they just say, no, I don't want nothing to do with this?
If you don't take a swim test, you're automatically registered as a white swimmer, so you can't go any further than that white swim. You can't go out on any boats. The biggest thing to note is if, for example, if you have a white swimmer scout that actually cannot swim, but you're a blue swimmer, you can take them out on a boat. So it can be worth it.
Oh. Harley's mom's got a question.
So the parents have to take the swim test too?
You don't have to.
But then I would be considered white. Okay.
If you want to go further than the white swim zone, you do have to take the swim
I'm going to take a swim test.
Like I said, usually we could do it in a nice warm pool, but they're not open this year. So.
And I will say that because of your size, we were kind of playing around with numbers, and I know threw around the idea that it'll be arrival by size of unit. So the biggest units will arrive first. Okay. Because we can make up time later. You guys will set us behind. We can make up the time later with the 2 scout units.
Okay. So if you have, like, say I'm a blue and I want to take a couple scouts that are whites out with me, can I do that, or is it like parent for
2 deep leadership? So even though you're out on the lake, you've still got to have 2 adults with you if you've got a scout that's not your own.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I took the YPT training, I swear.
So Jay just joined us. Jay, I recorded most of this, and we'll try to get it up on YouTube for what you missed.
All right, that's cool. Thanks.
Okay. So check-in. Where do we go next? Late arrivals and early departures should be able to be accommodated. That was the last meeting in March. So if you can't make it with us or you have to leave for some reason, that should be okay. The next one is they're waiting on guidance that scouts that need to leave and return. Every now and then someone has a doctor's appointment that they can't miss or something they can't miss. And most years it's okay to just head on out and come on back, but we don't have, you don't have guidance on that yet, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we don't have any guidance.
All right. So usually it's not a big deal, but just be prepared that if you do leave, you may not be able to come back this year.
Just to be clear, our biggest fear is putting our foot in our mouth at a later date and saying, oh, yeah, no problem. Johnny can go to the football game and come back. And then we get the guidance and have to go back and say, hey, guys, so if you leave, you can't come back. So we don't want to do any of that. So we're just waiting.
All right. So what do we need to go to camp? Bunk deposit of $25. If paid by tomorrow, you get a $25 discount. And I got to get together with Taylor to see who's paid and who's not paid. But John had a question on that. Does that need to be to council by check, or can we send it PayPal, or?
You can do it online through the registration. Okay. Did you get a link from Bob Blatz?
I may have. I'll check with Taylor.
And what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. You'll be able to get,
Okay.
you could always call Bob tomorrow and make him resend it or whatever.
Okay. And when do you need the list of names of people going by?
So when you do your final registration, what is that?
May 14th?
May 14th.
Okay. All right.
And Brian,
Right now you can just, it will on the registration, I believe, ask you to put names in, but
Okay.
like you could put Scout 1, Scout 2 if you don't have, if you just want to reserve a couple people that aren't sure
Okay.
yet.
And we can still add people up to the 14th of May. They just don't
Yes,
get the
you just don't
discount.
get that $25 discount.
Okay. So if you haven't paid your bunk deposit, get a hold of Taylor. And you can either take it out of your account or PayPal it to her. And that's how we'll take care of that. All funds are due by May 14th. So just keep that date in mind. Oh, John's back. He's driving, so. Adults need to be registered, and here again with BSA at least 2 weeks prior to camp. So, and again, that's on the national, the BS. What I was trying to figure out where to find the registration, the actual registration, and
It's just the application, so you can pick them up at council.
I'll pick them up again. Okay.
The application, the adult
And
application.
Is there a fee for that or no?
Yeah, so it's going to be the prorated for the remainder of the year.
Okay.
I want to say it's something like $35, but don't quote me on that.
And,
that's honestly just Cub Master speaking. That's not.
and the reason they do this is because they do run background checks on everybody that goes to camp to make sure everybody's okay and no bad people there. So I mean it is a good reason. It's not that they're looking for money or anything. It's they want to keep everybody safe. So they want you registered and they want to get you checked out. So schedule your physical for both your scout and adult and have the forms completed. Yep.
Where can we find that application?
At council?
On Genesee Street across from.
I could go to the store thing and then just ask them for it. Okay.
On the desk when you first walk in, there's like a office organizer thing that'll have like youth applications, adult applications. It's just the adult application.
Okay.
Crystal's going, so I can have her pick some up too if we need to. If that works. Okay. All right. So the price. Scouts, $365 for the year. Adults are $215. So you and your scout are going at $580. Now, some of us do have money in our scout accounts that can go towards that. I know the newer families, we haven't had a lot of fundraisers this year. I was like, normally I've never paid for summer camp because of the money we've raised through fundraisers. It's just this year doesn't work that well, as we all know. We are selling pierogies if you want to raise a little bit of money to help pay for the camp. So I know it's kind of sticker shock, but like I said, hopefully next year we'll be up and running at full speed again and nobody has to pay for camp. So, but those are the prices. And that includes a temporary COVID fee. How much was that again? I think
$50 a person.
$50 a person. And
And that's basically paying that person's salary.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amy.
And do we pay the fee for it? Do we pay all that the same way I paid the bunk fee? Do I pay? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so that covers, all the extra things they've had to do this year, the cleaning and
another tip on camp payments, and this is personal. I had a parent who pointed out to me that if you look at your HSA account sometimes, it'll say like summer camps or something for children can be taken out of your health savings accounts.
Yep, it can be. Anyone with multiple scouts, a $25 discount applies to each scout after the first one. And they don't need to go the same week. I'm assuming that's if you have Scouts, BSA, and Cub Scouts together, or okay. So those of you with the older older kids going, you can get that $25 discount. And the refund policy. As you can see, safety is your most important thing. If you're not feeling well before camp starts, please stay home. I think that's common sense, and everybody agrees with that. You can get a full refund minus $25 cancellation fee if you have a doctor's note. If you can't get a doctor's note, where am I here? Their health and safety team would be happy to talk with you about extenuating circumstances. Basically, don't show up sick, please. In addition, your entire camp fee can be funded up to 30 days prior to camp, subject to the $25 fee for any reason. So if, beginning of July, you're just not comfortable going to camp, you can get everything but that $25 fee back. So that's the refund policy. And I'm assuming it hasn't changed.
If you still really want to go to camp and you get better within a few weeks, I can almost guarantee we'll transfer your registration. I know it's not the same as going with your unit, but you can go on a different week.
Okay. So I know that was a hang up for some of our families, was the refund policy. So I think that's it. If anybody has questions. Anyone? All right.
Actually, I do. I had to find the unmute button.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the vaccine going to be required to have like a vaccine to go to camp?
I don't know. I can't say.
Okay. We're still waiting to find out from whoever, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Amy? Uh-oh.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
So obviously we're new. We haven't gone before.
Right.
Do you supply like a, hey, these are some things you should bring? Obviously, I know what we would bring if we went camping as a family, but this is a little bit different.
I believe it's on the website.
There is a list on the website. And my rule of thumb as a mom is basically you bring everything except the cooking food stuff. So you're going to bring your outfits, whatever number you feel comfortable with. Like I do 3 pairs of socks a day because my kids are crazy. And then I live in 1 pair of shorts for the 3 days.
John actually gave me a tip the first year I went. You go to Value and they have plastic trunks, black plastic trunks for about $30. You buy 2 of them, one for you, one for your scout, and you pack everything in there. It fits right under the cot. You have all your clothes, toothbrush, everything in there. Carry it in and out of camp real easy, and it's a lot easier than dragging suitcases and bags, and it's well worth the $30. So
you could always do stuff in your car too. It's better to over prepare and leave it in the car, so it's at least somewhat handy.
Yeah, we're only like a 2-minute walk from the parking lot, so it's.
What site do you guys usually get?
What's the name? Is John still on? He's driving, so. What site are we in, John?
Normally number 4, I think.
Okay.
The one furthest from the bathrooms.
Yes. Oh, that was my question. How are showers and the big public restroom going to be this year?
I'm not positive. Honestly, I don't think we've had that conversation yet. I think it's pretty separate. And again, we've got the people that are going to be sanitizing.
Okay.
You can't guarantee it gets sanitized between every use because sometimes it get pretty busy. But I think the bathrooms are going to have to be like that interesting, like in public, you see like every other sink is being used. I don't know. We'll see what's happening. I don't think we've had that talk.
I mean, are we going to have to go as a pack down to all take a shower or?
No, I don't think that that's going to be the case.
Okay. So let's see.
I don't love you guys that much.
And nobody's going to be,
well,
we're not going to be policing you. So like, oh my gosh, site 4 mixed with site 11 and shut down camp. I mean, nobody's policing anybody.
New families, they are separate showers. So it's not like a communal shower, but it is all in the same area. So Like
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 doors you go in your shower and.
I barely took one shower last year, or the first year. I'm dirty. I don't care.
I always take one midweek when I go camping. It's like
Okay.
And the other big, this might excite some people for me because I had a couple things with my younger scouts, but we're adding at least one washer and dryer in the shower house. So there will be laundry facilities available.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I would stick to like emergency use, I think
Yeah.
is what we're looking at for that. We're not thinking like bring your,
Yeah.
all of your laundry from home and use this time to wash them. But there are some of those instances that you really wish you had a washer available or a dryer. It's usually a dryer that you need more than the washer.
Usually if it's raining out there, you probably need that a little more. So it's not going to rain.
It's not going to rain. Liquid sunshine. We don't
That's
have
it.
rain at Scout Haven.
All right. Anybody else?
But there's that one day of every session, isn't there?
Yeah, last time it was right at the closing campfire too. That was not pleasant, but all right. If nobody else has any questions, I think we're done here. Stacy, thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if I'm sure you're all going to have questions as we move along, please don't hesitate to ask me or John or somebody that's been there, your den leaders. We've all been there enough. And if we can't find the answer right away, we certainly can contact Stacy or Bob and get you an answer within a day or two. So thank you everybody for showing up. I have recorded this. I hope, I don't know. This is all new to me, but I'm going to try to get it up on the YouTube for anybody that missed anything. So other than that, well, I do have a closing slide. I think that was our campfire last year. It was a campfire, or 2 years ago. We were astronauts. So we built a big rocket and then burnt it all down.
Softly falls the light of day as our campfire fades away.
All right, thank you everybody. Thanks for showing up.
Silently
We'll see you in the next couple weeks.
Have I done my daily task? Have I kept my honor bright? Can I guiltless sleep tonight? Have I done and have I dared everything to be prepared?
All right, Tom, Saturday if you want sprint.
Listen, Lord, oh, listen, Lord, as I whisper.
Yeah, Saturday. Sorry. Sounds good though.
Bless my mom and bless my dad. These are things that they should know.
All right, we'll see you.
I will keep my honor bright. The oath and law will be my guide. Mom and dad, this you should know.